you want to hook up the juice? Or should we just capture it like this?
Okay then, so we're going to do 2 A's, a B, 2 C's, and then another A, okay? And after a while it was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do ABCs. Where's the 4-letter fuck? People who are already, that part of their mind is closed enough, so they say, I'm not a musician. About the only thing that's going to convince them is not words, it's doing it. Having them do it, and then you won't have to convince them. Gotta check them.
Nickname for this place is the Griffen Shire. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. One of the band members who was practicing here in the early 90s started calling it that.
It's about 5 o'clock, 65 degrees. There's a gentle breeze to your left, my left, Mount Baker Highway.
He lives out in the county. He lives out in rural, down in Washington.
You coming for a hike back in here? No. Michael says no. He gives us the hand.
In order to like perform and write and create, you have to get to a place where you don't care and you're free. And this was such a safe space to do it. Oh, jeez. Oh, I'm stuck. Stuck. Cam, stuck.
I think, when I met Michael, there's a certain path that opened up that wasn't there before. It's really strange how just meeting one person can kind of alter your course in life.
I just think they're a really unique family, and I always really appreciated that about them. They're quirky and didn't care about, it was okay, that was okay. embrace that. Didn't live their life by the rest of the world's standard.
I do definitely regard Michael, but also Michael's family as family. I mean, I really do.
There was a year that I spent Thanksgiving with the Griffins. I mean, and it was amazing. Like their entire family was just like totally like just like super inclusive, and like everyone was totally accepting and super nice, and like I was definitely not the only person there that was like not related to anybody.
Thinking that people are allowed in that I think in ordinary families would be excluded.
I kind of got in the habit of always going to their house on Christmas, like
Right.
after I'm done with my family. First of all, they like are all passing out really early in the evening,
Right.
and so that I'd have the rest of the evening free. But it was always just kind of a relief, as much as I, adore my family, to go somewhere where I can just like be myself
Yeah.
and just feel totally comfortable.
Or like that I could feel like I could say, fuck that, or that's ridiculous, or like anything that came out of my mouth wouldn't really be looked down upon, or it's just comfortable. And I love my family. I love my family so much, but I didn't grow up in this ultra creative environment where anything was okay to just throw out there, make noise on it. I didn't get to see that. Like I didn't have a parental figure like Errol and Adam and Christopher. Like growing up, that their dad Michael was like making this wild art and like noise music.
Yeah, I mean, all of Michael's kids are like, if my kids turned out like they did, I would be really, really proud.
We used to sit around this braided oval rug, Christopher and Adam and I, and bang on tin cans, and Sean would dance in the middle of the rug. and that was bang on tin cans and scrape things, and
Right.
yeah, with preschool, 4 and 5, 6, maybe 3, not that young. And that was before I discovered noise music myself.
Mm-hmm.
With this stuff here, that was just us playing around as kids. Well, they were kids.
When John, Christopher, and I were little kids, every now and then we'd pull all the pots and pans out of the kitchen and parade around the house,
Yeah.
banging on pots and pans and dancing. So I don't remember. I have no idea how often it was, but the memory stuck with us. So
Yeah.
And just take a moment to imagine, if you will, growing up with that as
I
your
will,
concept
yeah.
of what music is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I just feel sometimes that I have a hard time talking to people who don't have any concept of music beyond whatever CDs you can buy, even at a or even just buying like vinyl albums at a
Yeah.
little independent record store. It's like, music is this thing that happens in your living room with instruments that your brother made. And like how many times did I fall asleep in the living room with crazy cacophony of like bizarre sound around me, and that's just sort of a normal a normal sound environment for me or something,
my blurb that I always used to use was, in my family, this is folk music.
Totally.
That's perfect.
And I'm so grateful for that because I feel like if you experience that, it's different than
Right.
like, I don't know, reading theory books about music or whatever.
I think that's the way, the ideal way for anybody to learn instruments is not start with
I tend to
scales
agree.
and all that. I mean, because I had to learn that way. I did piano lessons and I hated
Right.
it. It was just
Yeah.
so agonizing for me to have to learn all that stuff. And I think it's much better you just take an instrument and let the instrument tell you how to play it. I mean, and it
Right.
will. As you play it, it'll teach you how to play it. And then
You'll know
if
what
you want to
sounds good.
learn chords so you can mix with the people who do chords, great.
I think that's really scared off a lot of, scares off people who are the university types who are like, no, you gotta study jazz and you have to learn this that way. You have to really understand what you're doing before you do it. And he's like, oh, that's, that kind of thing is bullshit. Anyone can make music.
Why not? I mean, what's to stop you? Who's the authority that says you can't?
Totally inclusive. Like, people who know how to play instruments can do it. People who don't know how to play instruments can do it. All you have to do is want to do it, and that's it. You're done.
I don't have very much bright shiny object, especially bright shiny object where you can see me and Corey playing because it's in the dark, right?
Yeah.
The thing itself is, I don't know, somewhere around 14 minutes maybe.
Okay.
I could see it, a bridge way down.
Seeing Michael and realizing that, like, if I didn't want to go to college and I just wanted to, like, make art for the rest of my life and, like, have a job that doesn't drive me crazy but is purely there to, like, pay for my art, I can do that. That is an option, and it's a real option, and it's, and realizing that was huge. It was a huge deal. I remember when it happened too. It was like just a huge weight like lifted off of my shoulders. I just was just so relieved and happy to realize I was like, I can do this. If this is what makes me happy, I can do this for the rest of my life. And it's like 11 years later, and that's what I'm doing.
The notes in your
Straight
hand.
up with the notes. This is amazing that you write these.
Okay,
so
the notes.
great.
There's the notes.
Notes.
We love the notes.
And that's the notes for these. And this. Anyway, this is Artie Smudges.
Oh, yeah.
Which I had already given you any before.
Oh yeah, so there's some noggin and Artie Smudges in there.
Yeah, and there's a couple of
That's where you find your voice, and that's where you find the freedom of expression. Is kind of in this moment where you just don't care, and anything is possible, and anything is okay.
Oh, so it's like a jam band? No, not really.
It's like.
It's not to work your way through a structure. It's to explore things along the way and see where you get to.
know, he and Caroline have been playing for a while and just jamming out. He's like, you should come out and jam out with us and we'll just play. And then like, you know, so then we started playing again, and that's like when we started playing together with the Artie Smezzers trio, because we just go out, like Carol and I would drive out to Michael's and we'd play music and eat food. And so he just inspired me mostly with that idea of being able to just play anything, and just make sounds and make noise and have that actually be music and be something, as opposed to feeling like, oh, well, we're just messing around, like getting ready to then play some real music, you know? I love the way he'd paint whenever we went on tour, he'd paint one hand with red nail polish.
Who knows? Danielle and I have lost track of how many different filmmakers have used Artie Smudge's trio as soundtrack, either from me or from her.
We did a lot of like playing live for movies and stuff like that, which I think worked really well in like stuff like The Pianist, when it was like, when the movie was about making music.
Well, this is that movie, The Pianist.
I could get really good at playing the wine holder or whatever, and just make it, you know, music and art and like.
You know, I played a milk jug once for a half hour, and I just found all these tones in it, and I just kept playing it, and then and when I was done, these people who happened to be sitting nearby said, "Wow, that was so cool," you know, and it was like, and all I was doing was listening to the milk jug.
You probably expanded their musical world right there, you know.
Okay, this, I wish I had the master. Oh, I got this VHS. It's a video called Dead Cat. Have you ever seen it? When I was touring with Gus in Arrington, this friend of Gus Aaron in Oakland said, "Will you make a memorial for my cat with me?" So he costumed me kind of like an itinerant preacher in a spaghetti western.
Oh yeah, you did. I remember you telling me about
and I played the violin and recited this bombastic poem that he'd written over his cat's grave in the backyard. Yeah. And he made a really neat little video out of it.
That's awesome.
So I'd like to have that.
Yeah, that'd be great. That sounds awesome.
Dead cat, dead cat! Under this earth a dead cat lies. Ah, for what reason his early demise? What poisonous horror seemed through his eyes? No one making sounds, but still there are lies. Dead cat, wake up. Tell us what you know. Dead cat, wake up. Tell us what you know. Tell us what you know. Tell us what you know. Dead cat.
I think he has very little patience also for any notion of clinging to the past.
I'm much more interested in talking about what we can do next.
You know, I think that's one of the sort of, that just irritates him. He doesn't have patience for people who do that or for that idea in general.
Yeah.
You know.
At the same time, there's an aversion to nostalgia. He enjoys reminiscing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As long as it
You
doesn't
know?
have that emotional clinging content to it.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think there is a difference between
Right.
reminiscing and clinging to the past.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
no,
know?
yeah.
But yeah, totally. Yes.
It turned out she had her head shaved, but she had
Yeah.
a hoodie on.
Okay.
But her first thing was, we got to play together. We do it the same way.
That's
So I
awesome.
said, okay. She came and got me. And I went over and hung out with her under this tree with her little 2-year-old daughter being our audience, you know. And we played. And she's right. We did it the same way, you know. So she gave me an amethyst and said, well, thank you. And I said, thank you too. And that was it. Yeah, so let's shoot a couple of paintings, get that part down, shall we? I can see you might want to put these clips of paintings in just as quick flashes once in a while kind of thing.
What's this one called?
Movement is a shield.
When did you do it?
Oh, I stopped painting in '84, so I'm not sure. Oh, here's one right at the head of the stairs that I did with Terry, by the way. And in here, in my daughter's bedroom, there's a painting above her bed. There's something up there.
That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm tour guiding.
Yeah, you are.
Um,
My studio.
that one and that one are watercolors that I did in the late 60s. And behind you here, Peter, are an early 60s painting on the right, wintertime in a swamp. That's why the trees are dead. And that one, I can't believe that I've still got that. That's the first painting I ever did. 1954. First year college. Complete with an 18-year-old title. Machinery, cold, precise, intrudes, moving into intimate human moods.
First intentional painting, or right?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, you know, I did art stuff in high school, but
in elementary school, but yeah.
not painting.
Right. What's this one? This is an arrow?
That's the arrow painting, yeah. Oh, and just above your head there, Peter, I just forgot about, that's another painting of
Oh
mine
yeah,
from,
that's cool.
from the late 60s called Priestess.
Yeah. I hope to get some more footage of Behead the Prophet, No Lord Shall Live, which was the queer hardcore punk noise band that I played in with Michael, Joshua Plug, John Quitner, and David Harvey. And why I think it's remarkable is because it's just something that you don't see in punk music. Hardcore music is generally a younger person's music. It's loud and spastic, and it's like you need to get that out of your system, and there's no explanation for it, and you just got to do it. But it's not every day that you see a 60-year-old man playing frantic violin noise and free improv noise violin over the top of this form of music, and I felt very blessed to be a part of that band. Although it was very negative in its outer shell, it was a very positive and joyous experience for the people involved in the audience, and me personally playing drums. I could say that I really loved it. It was wonderful. It was ecstatic and cathartic every time.
Behead the Prophet, masters of that 110-minute set. Cryptic control.
Behead the Prophet, okay? I was thinking, I don't like to play with structure.
Dad found a photo of one of your shows of the audience where everyone just looks so happy. Like, and that's totally my memory of the experience of your shows.
Yeah.
It's just total joy.
That band was a huge deal for us in Mount Vernon, just because it was like, you know, all of a sudden, like, our friend Michael was in this, like, new band, and it was, like, our new favorite band, and they were like, oh, fuck, you guys are so rad.
Music, you're working with people one-on-one, and your audience is right there. It's immediate, and especially at a grassroots level, you know, you're playing music and you get to talk with your audience afterwards and meet new people. And I know that he's always loved that.
I can't tell you how gratifying it is out there. It happened with Behead the Prophet more than other bands. Mm-hmm. How gratifying it is to have somebody come up to you after the performance, after the show, and say, like, I played violin in high school, but I quit because it was boring. But now what I know I'm going to do. Now I know what I'm going to do. You know? Yeah. It's like, yes!
Yeah, exactly.
A regular Sonny and Cher, no?
Every time.
And it kept, every time could be different.
Right.
So it stayed fun.
In particular, Michael in particular has always been about, you know, anyone, if you want to, if you have the desire to, you can make music.
You're a musician if you want to play music, or you love it, or you're like interested in it.
It's a hard concept to get across to some people.
Fletcher Memorial Home for Deviant and Discontinued Thingies.
Yeah. Literally, deviant, discontinued thingies. They used to be on the table or somewhere else in the room, but now they're discontinued. They were deviant to start with.
Wow.
You done tore out my heart and stumped that sucker flat.
Oh no! He's gonna get it.
Is there any chance?
We're here to save the day! Stay away from us!
Oh, that's another good tape you want to get a clip of. That April Fool's Day show. At the show-off gallery, the Reeks and the Rex were supposed to play. Jordan was playing with them at the time, mostly baritone horn.
And bass.
And bass. Anyway, Reeks and Rex are doing a show off, April Fool's Day show, and they decided to, all 5 of them play drum kits and asked me to accompany them on electric violin. That's what we did.
Yeah, we just all got together and played a bunch of drums.
That's a micro mini movie. And it goes from top down, taken off a shopping channel on TV. It's called Scary Movie. If you can imagine a girl, a real girl, not a doll like these all are, a real girl of about that age watching this shopping channel and seeing what society wants her to be.
Yep, that's a scary movie.
That's a scary movie, yeah.
That qualifies.
Got it? I'm looking through the viewfinder. At a certain point, I push the button. I'm not thinking about what I'm looking for. I'm not thinking about matters of composition and focus and framing and all that. Not at all. I'm just looking. And at a certain... But it isn't random. It does come out of the fact that I've done hundreds of them, and I know what I know what I'm looking for in a certain sense. Like you're talking about playing music, you know what your sound you're going for in a certain sense, even though you're not thinking about it. It's called The Social Life of Things. Every one of them is a picture of the social life of cars or quilts or mailboxes or
I like the
doors and windows.
mailboxes.
Yeah.
And this, what's the story on this one?
Oh, that actually has a big story behind it. It's based on a Nahuatl, Mexican, Aztec, an Aztec or whatever story about how the earth was all finished and functioning except it didn't have any music. So Quetzalcoatl, being a beneficent god, feathered serpent, went up to the house of the sun and brought back the rainbow musicians, you know, and then the brook babbled, the birds sang, mothers hummed to their children, and we had music.
Very cool.
So, what's your plan?
Yes. Oh, man. Oh, so good. Yes, now we're getting into the good stuff. Oh, radical.
I've got Noggin's first, I think I maybe gave it to you already. If I didn't, it's in this one. Noggin's very first performance at the Show Off Gallery.
Noggin, Michael, violin, Eric, guitar, at Show Off Gallery, 4/13/93, VHS form. This was our first show.
noggin, he doesn't want to think about it or theorize about it too much, at least not out loud. Who knows what's going on in his head? I imagine there's a lot of theorizing going on in his head.
This is not irrelevant. You have to find it. A couple of paintings is what I'm looking for to compare to each other. Oh, there we go. Okay. The person writing here compares this painting, which is 40 by 88 inches. Okay. Compares it to a Dickens novel, a conventional novel. Yeah, it's an overall panoramic thing, but there's all this human interest stuff going on in a linear kind of way. Your eye scans across it, getting the story, right?
Right.
Especially if it was big enough to see what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
But I thought, I don't write that way. Noggin doesn't play that kind of music. Noggin plays that kind of music.
Can we show the two photos?
Yeah,
like
see what I mean?
How do I hold this like this, I guess. Yeah, just like it is.
Yeah. To a ceiling painting. But I look at it and I say, well, yeah, it is an incredible piece of work. It has unity. You can look at the whole thing and appreciate it as the whole thing. But it's all this chaos happening in it.
Yeah. So you're saying like this, yeah.
That kind of painting would inspire me more than other kinds as far as my own visual art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently what was a revelation to me was as far as my music goes too. Hadn't thought about it that way. Okay.
Publicly, Michael was the face of
right.
Noggin. People wouldn't know who the fuck I was. Just some average-looking guy, whatever. But Michael, he had, so it was kind of an interesting thing, where he would musically he would step back, but he really was the face for the whole thing. And actually, also at a lot of shows, I think he would spend a lot more time, people talking to people.
Seeing Noggin and like talking to Michael and like giving him tapes and stuff and like getting Noggin stuff from him, like I totally like started doing shows because he would like ask me to do them. If it wasn't for that, like I would, it wouldn't have happened. It really seemed then like just an amazing gift. Somebody gave a shit.
We're Noggin, sort of. Eric couldn't make it tonight, so Corey, who's filled in for him 100 times, actually is going to play in his place. And Red June's going to do what she does with us. And Adam's going to do some video of what's going on.
To our cars or whatever after a class, and he was like, asked me, I can't remember how it went, you want to join my band, or, none of us know how to play. You don't know how to play, do you? Oh, no, I don't know how to play. Sure. Just wanted to, whatever. I was bored, and I tried being in a couple bands, and they sucked, and I was like willing to try anything. And I didn't realize that when he said they didn't know what they were doing, they really didn't. But he goes, there's this guy I know, and we can practice at his house. It was Michael's house.
And a lot of it hinged around the fact that Eric liked to play noise. So you're playing a kind of a folky kind of indie rock song, and you come to the instrumental break, and the guitarist goes nuts and just plays. Yeah. So anyway, I liked that, so Eric and I just said, let's try a duo when that band broke up. Yeah.
Michael had always, has always done stuff that's almost, you would say, idiosyncratic.
And I like the idea of comparing Noggin to classical Arabic song.
Specifically, there was a Mechanormal Noggin show,
Right.
and it just like blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like in my memories, I feel like I remember being on drugs, but I don't think I was. It was just like that intense. I was just like watching it, just going.
Part of the joy of Noggin for him was that it was, I mean, it's part of the improvisational thing, that it is a sort of non-intellectual experience. You know, it's almost a physical experience. I mean, I certainly experienced Noggin performances on that level. It just made me feel good somewhere deep down inside, you know, in a non-intellectual way.
It kind of blew my mind. Like, just to see someone do it and to have so much fun doing it. And yeah, I mean, he totally, blew my mind from the start.
Like, music is too specific for words. And at first I was like, sure, whatever, Michael. And then the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah.
That is a kind of guiding thing for him with music, is that for him, he wants it to be that natural, it's that kind of immediate expression that's not mediated by his thought processes.
Right. Yeah, there's something just totally satisfying about it.
It took till he finally told me, you know, we had to have he initiated the conversation, like, I can't physically do Noggin anymore. Before it finally clicked with me, oh yeah, and oh crap, I mean, like, you know, in a way I felt bad and like really idiotic for stuff I had done for 10 years that had probably just really, and he kept up with me.
Yeah, so I pretty much, so Eric understands too, I pretty much am not going to do any full-on Noggin onslaught shows now, because it isn't the same. It wouldn't, I'd betraying Noggin. I can't put into it what it calls for. Yeah.
I'm sure part of not playing with Noggin is just the distance between them and the physical exertion and stuff like that. But also you said, you know, we've done Noggin.
Yeah.
Like, we've gotten it to like all the different places we can take it to, and until like we figure out, like, unless there's like some new place we can take it to, there's no point in just keeping doing it over and over again, the same thing. So like, it's true, like, he doesn't want to get into a groove, like, ever at all.
What's ass high? I think it's like I always look at that.
It's a video comp. Video comp that he put out. Cock ESP. There's a story behind that. In Minneapolis, his band leader set up a really shitty show for Noggin on a U.S. tour.
Those people in Minneapolis had recorded it. They wanted to release it. At first I was like, sure.
We read his catalog for his record label, and I wrote him a letter. Eric agreed. I wrote him a letter and said, Emil, please don't put out a recording of Noggin in Minneapolis on your label. We don't want to be associated with such a misogynistic bunch of bands. It wasn't quite that blunt, but it was almost that blunt. And evidently his feelings were hurt.
I got a call from this guy, Chris Aplinell, was putting out video. She goes, Eric, I just got this video from these guys in Minneapolis, and so I'm like, you know, I don't agree with it. I was like, well, what is it?
Oh, yeah. A shot of him, never see his head, ripping up and pissing on a Noggin 7-inch. We saw that and we thought, God, if there's ever a chance where we need a Noggin commercial, this is perfect.
Yeah.
It's totally hilarious. I mean,
Like,
it's totally.
You showed Noggin.
Because at the same time, Noggin single, hated by misogynist noise dickheads everywhere.
Like that was consciously important to him.
Yeah.
Like he was not, you know, it
And-
wasn't just
well-
accidental in his
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
that he encountered women musicians and
Right.
played with them. It was like
He saw it
mattered
out.
to him
Yeah.
that they were women that were like getting involved in music in this way.
Well, if you do decide to have a little section in there or something that that addresses his liking to play with women, you could even have a clip of Mary Elise also on the drums, because he really loved her drumming and he loved to play with her.
Is there any meaning to that at all, or?
Kind of. It's kind of like there's a presence within it, behind it and within it. It's not on the surface. On the surface is just all this geometric stuff all over the place, whirling around, but within it there's a presence. That's like me getting 202 strings going.
Yeah.
And saying, okay, I don't care if you played before, I don't even need to know. Here's an instrument, let's all play.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. about it, the like shittier things become,
Yeah.
and the more you just kind of do it, the easier it is, and
Yeah.
it's fun. And who knows if it's really like better for other people watching, but it becomes better for you doing it.
Michael's brought a lot of people together in a way that not many people have that I've ever known.
You know, the whole reason he really loved playing music was that loves playing music is it gets people involved with you.
This is what you can do. You can do this. Like anyone can do it. Like anyone can make art or noise. And I've always felt that. And I guess it was just, part of it is just that it's like, oh, here's someone else that's like much older and lived much more life than I have. And they feel the same way that I do, and they're doing it, and they've done it for years before I was even born. They were doing it, and that's cool, that's amazing.
Because it frees the creative person so much, it's a really good place to come up with some really fine stuff. Because if you're a creative person, you're really freed. So it can be totally rudimentary by people who, they're not musicians, got a tin ear, whatever. And yet, it can be that, and it's still noise improv music. Or it can be just as good as anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it frees the creative person so much, it's a really good place to come up with some really fine stuff. Because if you're a creative person, you're really freed. So it can be totally rudimentary by people who, they're not musicians, got a tin ear, whatever. And yet, it can be that, and it's still noise improv music. Or it can be just as good as anything. When we're all gone, it's still going to be out there.